welcome back to another Insider. And in this week, we are going to close this month of August with something that I consider very important if you are studying now and if you happen to be in Australia and decide that certified translation would be one of the services that you would provide. I'm going to talk about certified translation a little bit more deeply into the service. What do you need to consider if you are studying out now? And why all these things are or need to be considered, and what is about certified translation. So come with me and let's talk about certified translation. So if you are starting out now and if you live in Australia, chances are you are getting ready to sit your NATI test and become a NATI certified translator. However, that does not mean that you decide to always provide certified translations. Let me explain. So a certified translation is official document, so to speak, where you translate a particular text and then you certify it with your stamp, sometimes the signature. I'll go into that part soon in the program today, and that is a certified translation. That does not mean that a certified translator always needs to provide certified translations. The reason why authorities and companies alike prefer certified translators in Australia, for example, because we have them, is of course because they know that we are certified by NATI, that we have satisfied NATI's requirements to be a certified translator, to be in the profession. But that does not mean that every single work that we do is a certified translation. A certified translation is when we actually put our stamp in. So this is what I would like to explain first, so you know that being certified doesn't mean that all your work is going to be certified. And obviously, if you are sitting the NATI test and you pass the NATI test, you are obviously given your stamp and you have your stamp. NATI now has a digital stamp as well that you can create on your portal. I will go into that when a little later in the program. And of course, you have the physical stamp. So, but you don't need to use it all the time. I've been working in this industry for almost 20 years, and I do not use my stamp in all my jobs. Sometimes I'm working for companies that want the website translated, or they want brochures translated, or they want reports. I've been working with a company in the casino games industry, and I used to translate reports for them. So all of these jobs, even though they are they are done by a NATI certified translator, which is me, they are not certified translations because they do not carry my stamp, or in my case, because I've got a physical stamp and I also have the digital one if I want to, they do not have my signature, my stamp, or anything like that. So that's just to put you in context that a certified translator is obviously someone that is recognized by the country's authority, in the case of Australia, NATI, but not all translations performed by that translator will be certified. For that to be certified, and in the case of Australia, you need to have your stamp. So that is what certifies that translation. This is just a little introduction. Now, certified translators have to deal with lots of rules. We don't just provide a translation to our clients. We provide a legal document that has to be compliant with the law of the country it is destined to, but not all. On the other hand, we must also comply with the rules of our regulator and our code of ethics, and it is a balancing act, and we must play the game by the millimeter. It is very important that we do this. The final product must be compliant with all the rules and regulations we are under. That means at the destination and also at the origin. So, a lot of us deal with only Australian regulators. If you are working into English, for a language other than language, usually called LOTE, into English, you would be, for certified translation, you would be dealing with Australian regulations, and therefore you only need to know about what are the regulations for Australia specifically. But if you do translate from English into LOTE, then that's where you need to be careful with things like international regulations and things like that. So let's start to our rules. Let's start that by the origin. That means us, our internal rules that we need to be compliant. When we accept a certified translation project, we must comply with the law of the country we are in and the authority who issued our certification, in our case, NATI. Usually, there are specific rules regarding this very important type of service. For example, in Australia, it must be done by a NATI certified translator, of course, and it must carry the stamp of the translator, at least the stamp. And I'm saying at least because I will develop further. However, not all countries have the same regulations. And if we are certifying a document destined to another country, then we must know what their regulations are before we start working. And this is what we need to bear in mind. At the moment, we have the possibility of having a physical stamp and a digital stamp. The physical stamp, you put your stamp on, then you have to sign because it has a field where you have to sign, and you put the date of the translation. The digital stamp is digitally originated through your portal, and it has a QR code, it has your name, your credential, and it has a QR code where when you go and give that document to the authority where it's destined to, the person can scan that QR code and verify our credentials. So it does not carry our signature. The digital stamp does not have our signature. This is important for the next stage of this video. Now, the destination. Let's now consider the destination. For example, for Portugal, a translation is certified by recognizing the signature of the translator who has done it. So, there's a difference here. For Portugal, there needs to be a signature of the translator who actually translated the document. And that is the final stage of certification. They need to recognize the signature of that professional. the country does not have certified translators, just like we have in Australia. I've heard that they're trying to get a system, a similar system going on there, but as far as I know, it hasn't been implemented yet. And that is their way of officializing the document. Usually in Portugal, what they do, the translator then has to go to a notary and get the translation certified, thereby recognizing their signature. Obviously, they have to write the statements, etc., and then they will officialize the document like that. So the service, as far as I'm concerned, the colleagues there charge the translation, and then they have to charge traveling expenses and notary expenses, etc., because obviously that is all part of the service and they have to go and do all of this. So this is for Portugal. So that is what they do. But sometimes governments rely on each other for processes like that. When a government has something that other governments don't, they can actually harvest what that government may have, and it's the case here. So it's again, in this case, Portugal and Australia are one of these cases. The Portuguese authorities stipulated that all applications submitted in Australia must be translated into Portuguese by a NATI certified translator. The reason being, of course, if we already have an authority in the country where you have someone that is adequately qualified and recognized by an authority to do the job, it's a no-brainer to require that in all the documents submitted in the country will be by obviously a professional that is adequately certified by that authority, which in our case would be NATI, just like we do in Australia. It would be a no-brainer. It's very, very easy to understand. However, they still request that the signature of the translator to be certified by the Portuguese consulate. Because, okay, we now have a recognized professional in Australia, so we know that that person is qualified. We know that that person is recognized by the authority in Australia. However, it's not Portugal. So, and in Portugal, it's the signature that counts, and that is the stage where that document, that translation become certified. So we need still to get that process going. So this is why I need to print, stamp, sign my certified translations. And I usually include a statutory declaration where I list the documents that I have translated. I put my credentials, and I state that I was the one involved in those translations, etc., under my capabilities with my NATI, OSIT, and Chartered of Institute of Linguists credentials. And then I sign and I put my stamp again. So this is the final stage. So for Portugal, they need the signature. That is why I usually print. I print, I sign, and then I have to go through all this process so the Portuguese consulate can recognize my signature and proceed with the application of my clients. Being aware of these rules help you do your work. So if you are aware of all of this, it's easier. I would say it's smoother for the client, because you get a much smoother process where you can get things going without any issues. And it's easier for you because you already know, and this is what you do, and you have a process going, and that's all, simple. being aware of this, of course, is important for you. If you are starting now and you intend to provide certified translation services, make sure you know all the rules. Just knowing our code of ethics with OSIT, which is obviously essential, is crucial. Knowing NATI's regulations, etc., that may not be enough if you are dealing with authorities overseas. If you are performing, or if you are carrying out translations that are going to go for a foreign authority, or even for a foreign company, they might have different requirements, and you need to know all of those requirements before you start, so you don't bump into issues. So this is why I did this video today. I know I have spoken about certified translation a few times, but I think this is important to bring about again, because it is something that sometimes causes confusion. And the reason being is NATI now has a digital stamp that is very handy. There's pros and cons about the NATI stamp. I'm not going to delve into it now, but it is important to understand that, for example, the NATI stamp for Portugal causes or poses a problem, because you don't have your signature in your digital stamp. So you still need to have a signature there that can be recognized by the consulate. So you need to solve that problem. And that's why I use my physical stamp, because of that. That is the only reason I use my physical stamp. Otherwise, I would have gone totally paperless, which obviously is something that I would be very, very happy to do, because, you know, less wastage, less paper, less trees down, you know, environmentally friendly, all of that. Unfortunately, because of this particular issue, I still haven't been able to get a way of doing my certified translations without the paper. That's why. So you need to know what rules we need, and of course make sure that we have all the structure, all the processes in place, so we can have that service provided to our clients in a way that it goes smoothly for everyone and it gets everything going. So make sure, if you really into document translation, and if you really want to do certified translation, if that is part of your services, make sure beforehand you know which authorities are you dealing with, and that is mostly given by the direction of translation. And then after that, know all the rules, see what you need, what are the requirements, etc. And of course, when you get a job from your clients, make sure you ask if they need certified translation. Of course, we always do that. And if they say they do, ask them, do they have any special requirements in regards to certified translation? For example, for me, if they say that it's for the Portuguese consulate, I already know what they want, so I already say what I usually do, etc., etc. If it's for another authority, I ask the client, look, what are the regulations? And of course, if for an instance they tell me that it's okay, the digital stamp, then I would use it, of course. So be aware of this, and make sure that you know everything you need before you start, because that will save you a lot of heartache, and of course will save a lot of heartache to your clients as well. So it's important that we know all of this. Today, I hope you liked this video. I hope it at least clarified a few things about certified translation. Not only with colleagues that may be starting now and want to provide this service, but also with some clients. I've got some clients that sometimes ask me why can't I use my digital stamp, and I have to explain, and there's no problem of whatsoever explaining, but I have to explain to them that the reason why I use my physical stamp is because Portugal requires the signature of the translator to be recognized. And you need to know all of these rules, you need to know all of these details in order to provide the best service to your clients. And I think that is what counts, that is what is most important, is at the end you can provide the best service. So I hope you like it. If you have any questions in regards to this video or any other topic that I have discussed in this Insiders, or you have any topic that you would like to suggest, leave me a comment below. I'll be very, very happy to accommodate that. And of course, put a like on the video and subscribe the channel with a little click on the bell so you get a new insider every week. Before I go, I would like to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next week. Have a good one. Bye.